The secret behind the rise of leg kicks in MMA is the power, since a single well-placed leg kick can generate a force equal to hitting someone with a baseball bat. And no matter how tough the fighters are, vicious leg kicks are one of those things you just can't take as many of, and this has been proven many times in the UFC. Nowadays, just about every single MMA fighter knows how to throw or defend against a leg kick, as you just can't succeed in modern MMA without these skills. Sooner or later, the lack of kicking skills will backfire, and it would be a very, very painful experience. Stay with us as we're bringing you the most vicious leg kickers in MMA today. Number 10. Santiago Ponzinibbio. It's really amazing how quickly people forget how good Santiago Ponzinibbio is, and you simply can't drop him out of the equation when talking about devastating leg kickers in MMA. Although leg kicks are not his primary weapons, like in the cases of some other fighters, do not underestimate Ponzinibbio's ability to kick that calf over and over again until his opponent can't stand anymore. Back in 2018, Ponzinibbio faced talented Neil Magny in a fight that still stands, in our eyes at least, as the most brutal one. Right from the opening second, the Argentinian started firing vicious leg kicks and having a lot of success doing so, as Magny failed to check a single one. He beat him to the point where poor Magny was literally standing on one leg inside the octagon, which was really weird and hard to watch. We'll never know why the referee or Magny's coaches didn't stop that fight to prevent Magny from getting knocked out unconscious. 9. Paul Felder. Paul Felder is certainly up there among the most skilled Muay Thai fighters on the UFC roster, which means that he also has devastating leg kicks in his arsenal. However, his kicking skills are extremely versatile due to his background in various arts like Taekwondo, where he's a second-degree black belt, and Shotokan karate. What Felder does best with the feet is combining kicking techniques from all of these arts, which makes him very unpredictable and awkward to fight against. You can often see his opponents having a hard time reading when and from which angle the next kick is coming from, and that's what gives the Irish Dragon a significant advantage when it comes to kicks. And my God, his switch kick technique is a thing of beauty. 8. Marlon Moraes. For many years, the former WSOF champ and UFC title challenger Marlon Moraes has been terrorizing the bantamweight division in both of these promotions. Though he faced some ups and downs in recent years, his legendary kicking power is still present. What he genuinely enjoys doing is mixing his kicks high and low. He would often open the fight with hard inside and outside kicks to the lead leg, before going high with a head kick as he did against Jimmy Rivera. But to truly understand how devastating his leg kicks are, we have to go back to his third WSOF title defense against Joseph Barajas. Moraes needed just over a minute to land 7 hard calf kicks to totally destroy Barajas' lead leg, to the point where the referee Big John McCarthy had to intervene and save Barajas from receiving further punishment. 7. Joanna Jędrzejczyk. You just can't talk about devastating leg kickers in MMA without bringing up Joanna Jędrzejczyk into the conversation. You see, Muay Thai and Joanna are a perfect combination when it comes to MMA fighting, and watching her perform is like going into a theater, but a bit more violent. Being a complete striker, leg kicks are not Joanna's primary weapon on the feet, as she prefers to always combine her punches and kicks together. Although she doesn't possess huge power, it's the insane volume of strikes that makes Joanna such a scary individual, as she literally doesn't give her opponents any space to work. The best example of her kicking skills is the fight against Michelle Waterson, in which Joanna landed 78 leg kicks, the most in UFC history. Do you want to guess who's in second place? It's Joanna again, with the 75 leg kick she landed in her bout against Brazilian Jessica Andrade. Joanna is a scary, scary woman. 6. Israel Adesanya. Adesanya might be the most talented striker we have seen compete in MMA who came into the sport from kickboxing and Muay Thai. So if someone knows how to time and execute a vicious leg kick, then that has to be Adesanya. But while working his way up the UFC ladder, he primarily used kicks to set up the boxing combos or rip the body instead of targeting the leg. The fights in which he really showed the power of his leg kicking technique were the ones against Yoel Romero and Paulo Costa. The one against Costa should be put into some instructional martial arts books, as it's an ideal example of how leg kicks work in MMA. Adesanya started chopping the lead leg from the opening round, landing at full extension and with a lot of power. He landed an astonishing 26 vicious leg kicks that eventually led him to knocking out Costa. 5. Dustin Poirier. The former UFC's interim lightweight champion is one of those fighters who never stops evolving and adding new skills and weapons to their game. Following the rise of leg kicks in MMA, Poirier started working on improving this technique with one of the best strikers and kickboxers, Thiago Alves. For those not familiar with Alves, he's a retired UFC legend and a devastating leg kicker in his own right. Although he's always had solid kicks, Poirier has elevated his calf kicks to another level in recent years, as he showcased in his fight against Conor McGregor, in which he used pinpoint perfect calf kicks to completely shut down McGregor's ability to move around. This allowed Poirier to get more comfortable with the punches, and eventually knock the Irishman out in the second round. 4. Justin Gaethje. The former UFC's interim lightweight champion is one of those fighters who throws each and every leg kick with huge power. He never bothers much with landing those soft ones to play with the opponent's timing or keep them at a safe range. No, Gaethje is all about power and doing damage with the feet, which is weird to some extent considering that he actually has an elite wrestling background. What he does best is chopping the lead leg of his opponents right from the opening second of the fight, and he needs just a couple of them to land clean to quickly compromise the movement of his opponent. Once they become sitting ducks, Gaethje would start rushing in with wild boxing combos to eventually put them out with punches. The fights in which Gaethje really showcased his kicking skills were the ones against Tony Ferguson and Michael Johnson. If you haven't seen them already, be sure to check them out. 3. Jose Aldo. Although still active and going strong, Aldo in his prime was the most devastating leg kicker we have ever seen compete. The former UFC featherweight champ used leg kicks to absolutely destroy every fighter who was brave enough to stand in front of him, and the technique he was using was very advanced, even by modern standards. Aldo spent his youth training and playing soccer, which allowed him to develop incredible strength in his legs and very unusual hip rotation when it comes to kicks. His leg kicking technique is not all about precision and power. It's the economy of motion and speed that really makes the difference. His fight against Uriah Faber, in which he landed 27 clean leg kicks, is probably the best example of how devastating and destructive Aldo's kicks were at the time. To say Faber's leg was all busted up would simply be an understatement. 2. Douglas Lima. Lima is not just a fighter who has an amazing ability to land quick and powerful leg kicks that are painful to watch. Nope, he's a fighter who turned this specific technique into an art, and witnessing him landing just a single one and hearing it echoing through the arena is nothing but frightening. Even though fighters certainly have to possess a talent for it, Lima didn't become a devastating kicker overnight, as he's actually often preparing for his matches in Muay Thai camps in Thailand. Lima is such a devastating leg kicker that you can pick any of his fights in Bellator if you want to hear the sound of the sheen echoing through the arena. Our suggestion must simply be a fight with Mikhail Sorev from 2013, in which Lima landed so many clean leg kicks that Sorev was barely standing. 1. Edson Barboza. The first name that comes to our mind when someone mentions leg kicks must be Edson Barboza. Over the years, the Brazilian has become synonymous with fast, precise, and powerful leg kicks in MMA he used to score an amazing 2 finishes. Yes, Edson Barboza utilized leg kicks to finish Mike Yulo in his UFC debut and Rafaelo Oliveira at UFC 162. Bear in mind, we're talking about finishes here, and that Barboza regularly uses leg kicks as his main weapon. Some of the most famous fighters who fell victim to his insane kicking skills are Gilbert Melendez and Dan Hooker. And we don't have to tell you how brutal and painful those 2 fights are to watch, especially the one against Dan Hooker. We can feel pain in our legs just remembering that fight. So, what do you think about our list? be sure to give us your opinion about the rise of leg kicks in MMA, and support us by hitting that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching.